Hi AP Chemistry! Today we're going to do our intermolecular forces and salting out lab, so let's get started. You should have this handout in front of you. The first step is we need to place 1 drop of isopropanol and 1 drop of water onto the table and observe it while working. So let's go ahead and do that. Here I have my water. And over here I'm going to have my isopropanol. You can answer these questions yourself, but for now, let's move on to number 8. We need to mix 4 milliliters of water with 4 milliliters of isopropanol in a test tube. So here's my test tube. I already put some water in it, and we're just going to add our isopropanol. So let's observe what happened so far. Right now, it looks like there is some separation between the water, which is yellow, and the isopropanol, which is blue. But let's move on to the next step. We need to cover repair film and invert to mix. Record your observations. All right, so when we mix our blue and yellow, what color do you think they'll become? Of course, green, right? That is perfect. So let's think about number 9. What does this tell you about the intermolecular forces between water molecules and isopropanol? Well, remember, there are 3 intermolecular forces: London dispersion forces, dipole-dipole, and hydrogen bonds. So let's take a look at our molecule structure. Well, can you tell if these are polar or not polar? And can you tell if they have hydrogen bonds? I see a lot of hydrogens, but remember, hydrogen needs to be connected to very specific elements for it to be considered a hydrogen bond. For 10 and 11, you need to draw a model. So think of water's dipoles and the orientation they would form around each ion. For number 12, we're going to add some salt to our solution. So remember, we have our green solution over here, but we're going to add a whole bunch of salt to it. And we're going to see what happens. So doing this one-handed, it might get a little bit messy. Whoops, that's the fun in science, right? Remember, our solution was green before, but let's mix it a couple times to see what happens. Let's come really close so that you can get a good view. Oh my goodness, it was just green, but now look at the colors. We have yellow on the bottom and blue on the top. Whoa, how did that happen? Well, that's up for you to explain. Here's your hypothesis about why this is happening. Remember, yellow is water and blue is isopropyl alcohol. So what about adding salt? Split our green solution back into water and isopropyl alcohol. I have a follow-up question for you to think about. Remember, I put exactly equal amounts of water and isopropyl alcohol in this test tube, but as you can see now, there looks like there's a lot more water than isopropyl alcohol. So can you give me a prediction or a hypothesis about where that other isopropyl alcohol went? We have one more question to go back to. Remember when we did our drops on the table? So now I'm looking at water, and there's still a pretty sizable drop, but if I look at isopropyl alcohol, it is pretty much evaporated. So what does that tell you about the strength of their intermolecular forces? Go ahead and write your answer over here. Thank you so much for watching this lab. I hope you learned something today.